Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Parks and Rec Board meeting for October 22nd, 2019. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Bartow.
Present.
Member Coyer.
Present.
Member Eastwood.
Present.
Member Howdy Shell.
Present.
Member Manson.
Present.
Member Supple.
Present.
Member Williamson.
Present.
Chairman Troutman.
Present.
And Member Harris is absent.
Thank you. Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 5. We need acceptance of the minutes from our August 27th Park Board meeting.
I move that we accept the minutes from the August 27th Park Board meeting. Second.
Okay, hearing a first and second. Any modifications? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor? 8 for, 0 against. Okay, we'll move on to staff reports. Director?
Thank you, sir. I will ask Mr. McLean to do a recreation report.
Thank you, sir. I've submitted a written report in the packet that you all have in front of you this evening. Would like to just highlight a couple things. This week we have Office Assistant Nab is at the RecTrack Symposium getting additional training on our RecTrack software system. A couple of years ago I went to the pre-migration. We changed our software, we updated it. She's at the post-migration symposium kind of going through some of the things that we've seen and some of the, it gives us time to learn more in depth, but then also if there's anything that they're seeing out in the field that need to be corrected or adjusted or looked at further in depth. It gives our staff the opportunity to talk to the builders one-on-one. And so she is up there, worked with her a little bit today as she worked into our system and was remoting in, and so we, IT and myself worked on that today, and she's learning a lot up there. Mainly the sports season, fall season is ending this week for the most part. So we have volleyball ending Saturday with a tournament. We had soccer tournament this last weekend, and flag football I believe is tonight or tomorrow night. Same baseball I think was last night I believe. But anyway, it's all right here in this last week or two of October. So that's coming to a close. And then really, we've been working on, we had our 80s, 90s dance. Coordinator Van Coolen ran that at the RAC. We had a killer DJ, I believe, at that event, and really rocked it out. We had some compliments on it. Actually, everybody that was there complimented, but we had a few on Facebook, so it was good to see. It was a new event. We were just trying something new out at the RAC on a wonderful evening that brought back some of people's proms and homecomings that I probably fall in that range. So anyway, that event was very nicely done, and we had a lot of excited people. And then basically we're gearing up for the gala this weekend for the Hawks Nest, and then we have a couple other events coming up. Veterans Day celebration November 8th, and then a holiday craft fair and the mayor's tree lighting. So all of those we're gearing up for. That concludes staff report. At this time, I'd be willing to entertain any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent McLean? Melinda?
So what was the turnout like numbers for the 89?
About 30, between 30 and 50,
You think we'll
or
do it,
30 and 40, sorry.
do you think we'll do it again?
I think so. We had some really good suggestions, so that was key. I was in attendance as well. I helped Coordinator Van Coolen work the event, and we did ask for feedback. So there was some good feedback. Even our officers that attended, we did have alcohol at this event. We had snacks. There was ideas from the music, the era. We had, we had one couple. It was amazing. They'd been married 68 years, 78 years old, and they both came from Foxwood. They've lived in Foxwood for 3 years, originally from Oklahoma, been dancing their whole life, but they came to the 80s, 90s. So they actually suggested that we do more of like a sock hop 50s and 60s, but
Yeah.
hey, it was great just seeing actually more than just the 80s, 90s era expanded. So we had some good suggestions on that. So yeah, I think we will try it again, and we might change the time of year a little bit or line it up with some other events that kind of coincide with the school district. I think that was another good suggestion, when homecoming and the homecoming dance is going on, well, maybe the parents might want to come and do their own dance. So, just ideas. So
Yeah.
we'll expand on it.
Good. I wanted to be there, planned on being there. It didn't end up working out, so I'm glad to know that you plan to do it again, and then I'll try to be at that one.
Okay.
Ryan?
Yeah, quick question for you. There's volleyball. I know I've been to a couple of games just for some other kids playing. It was packed every time we went there. Belton was offering volleyball starting at second grade, and I think we offer it starting at third grade. Is there a reason we wait till third grade? I know there were quite a few Raymore residents that did go to Belton for the first year that I'd heard about. So just questions that were asked to me throughout the season.
That is something I'll have to look into. I was not aware that Belton moved their age range. We originally started where it was 4th and 5th grade, and then 6th, 7th, and 8th was combined when I arrived at Raymore a few years ago. We expanded it, opened up that 3rd and 4th to follow suit with baseball and other sports, flag football and things like that. So we did the 2 age group. Really the hardest part is finding a volleyball light enough. The volleyball lights are still pretty heavy and hard hitting for the 3rd graders, and that's the one sport that is difficult. Where do you set the net height? And so I wasn't aware of that. I'll look into it, and I'll be glad to follow up with you on that.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Director?
I'll ask Superintendent Rulo to do a parks report.
Thank you. I also submitted a written report, but wanted to highlight on a couple things. I wanted to let you all know that the staff has been working at Recreation Park. We have a disc golf tournament this Sunday. They've been working pretty hard on that, getting new flags put up, everything mulched, things mowed. And they did pour 2 new tee pads, one on number 3 and one on number 4. So they are getting some of the things done that we have talked about throughout the year. 2 staff members attended a mini conference today in Columbia. Had the time and it was pretty good classes. Sent Gus and Haley up there. I did get a couple seconds to talk to them before it came here, and they said that they enjoyed it and look forward to going to more. And they just wanted to note the last bullet point there is the staff picked up 70 free trees from Forest Relief 2 weeks ago. And the majority of these trees we look forward to planting out at Hawk Ridge around the trail. And hopefully in a few years they'll be big enough and have some nice trees out there. With that, I'll take any other questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Rulo? Ryan?
Last week we were discussing the sodding and I see it says here they received quotes for hydro seeding and sod portions of Hawk Ridge. Any update on where that stands or what got approved through City Council?
That actually went to council last week. Council, I think, they're voting on first read of going back to the original bid of hydro seeding some and sodding the bowl at the amphitheater around the restroom on the south end and around the shelter house on the north end. That'll go to second read next week. And I talked to the contractor today, let them kind of know what they were talking about. So hopefully next few weeks we'll be able to get on that. We will probably do the sod now. We will probably hold off on the hydro seed till spring because nothing is going to take
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Director?
Thank you, sir. I did not provide a written report as I was out of town last week at a conference, so I'll just do a couple quick updates. For those of you who have been to Centerview, which I know you all have, we've had some concrete issues going on that we've been working with the Straub, our contractor, and the insurance and stuff, and we will have portions of our concrete replaced on the outside, the sidewalk areas and the steps, and if you walk down there, you'll see they're pitting and breaking apart and stuff, and so they will begin repairing some of those items. Yes, sir.
Where was that at? Where,
Centerview. Centerview. That's okay. So that work will begin. It'll take about 3 weeks. They'll do a segment at a week, so we're not interfering with any activities or programs and stuff, but that's been kind of one of the outstanding items at that facility, and this will pretty much wrap that up and complete that whole project. Also, last week I got to attend a training at Gettysburg, leadership training. It was excellent, so I appreciate the fact that our council and the park board provide those opportunities for us. It was very well done. And just a quick update on TB Hanna. In our packet tonight, we will be recommending approval of a contract if the board chooses to do that, and then moving it forward to City Council next week for the site work at TB Hanna. This is in conjunction with all the projects. This is like the key component, and I'll get into that a little more here in a minute. However, I would like to say that the Station House project that began in the summer, it's coming to an end. If you haven't driven by there, it's very noticeable now. It's looking pretty good and almost identical to the concept drawing that we provided at the beginning of the summer. So good to see that thing wrapping up, and happy to answer any questions, sir.
Any questions for Director Mustine? No? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. Action item A, Recreation Park Playground. Director?
Thank you, sir. I provided a staff report on this particular item, and it's a little unorthodox, but I felt it was deserving of our time tonight. There's a program through Game Time Playground Company that provides matching funds, up to 100% matching funds. That program has a deadline of October 31st. I chose to go ahead and engage Game Time and provide some options for you guys to look at the replacement at Recreation Park Playground, as it is in desperate need of replacement, and it's also, if the council approves, next Monday night will be one of our capital improvement projects starting November 1st. So if you can see that the timing of that is kind of critical, and we really don't make that timing. I did request an extension with Game Time and have been granted that. And so I am presenting to you, I did not have them at the time. You received them during work session. So you have two options for playgrounds that are a turnkey, which includes poured-in-place surfacing. It includes the same square footage that we have out there, and it is start to finish within our budget. And what we would like to do is get a recommendation from the park board if you would like to, number one, if you would like to proceed with this, number two, which option you would like to do. A couple things about this program is option one has a savings or a matching fund of $89,339, but it is one piece, a one-piece unit. Option two has matching funds of $60,144. It's a little smaller, but it also includes additional features within the play area. I will say also that Game Time is a member of the purchasing contract that the city belongs to, so provided the board approves this and then the council moves forward, we do not have to go through the bidding process. We can buy direct, which is why this program is kind of attractive. However, I'll just say there's no guarantee. We're doing this in the hopes that the calendar works in our favor. If the calendar does not work in our favor, no harm, no foul. We made a good effort. We'll still replace our playground next year as part of our CIP program. So at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the director? Ryan?
to clarify our conversation as far as the timeline, if we recommend board approval, I know you said move the deadline to November 15th, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I know you were saying that it's showing on here, project timeline, city council first read November 11th. But you said that meeting has been canceled
Yes, sir.
because of the holiday.
At the time that the packet was made, that is the normal day for a city council. I found out this morning at our management team that that particular meeting will be postponed due to the holiday.
So then we would move first read to November 25th, and then would they do an emergency double read on that on November 25th, or would the second read be moved all the way until the first meeting in December?
I would plan on the second read being in December. That is the mayor's discretion whether there's an emergency read. We can ask, but there's no guarantee that he would allow that. Given that it's not necessarily an emergency, I would hesitate that would be approved, but we can ask.
So if the second read, so even though they extended the deadline to the 15th, whatever that first Monday of December falls on, that would be the official first date you'd be able to give Game Time the go-ahead?
Yes, sir. I did reach out to our representative who provided the information for Game Time, asked the question, gave them an update. I did not hear back from them today, so we're moving forward tonight. Whatever he responds with could change the way we move forward, but I'd like to go ahead if the board's in agreement to proceed as if the calendar will be in our favor.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think we're about to see how well that Gettysburg training is going to go for you. Yes, Melinda.
Okay, so when we were in work session, we kind of were just trying to discuss this, and you had, know which one I prefer, and I believe we are kind of on the same page, but I'm interested in why you guys prefer this option 2. We didn't really get to go into that, so since we're not really in making a motion yet, I think this might be a good time for you to be able to explain that, because I love on option 1, it's a much bigger, larger, taller, more slides. It looks great. But to me, option 2 has it's more spread out. There's those, especially since it's ADA, there's, or an all-inclusive, we have those options of moving the wheelchairs and moving people out instead of just on one thing. But what are you guys seeing? What do you guys like about 2 that maybe I'm not seeing?
Okay. First, for clarification, this is an ADA compliant with inclusive features. I wouldn't categorize this as an all-inclusive like Hawks Nest or TB Hanna would be. So this is a typical playground that just has some pieces that are included that are compliant with ADA.
Okay, good.
Why I personally, and we as our staff have discussed, why we like option 2 is although the modular unit, the main piece is smaller, overall, there's more play features included in option 2 because you have the smaller pieces. So that spreads out the play area. More children can actually access the play area and do more with it than just the one large piece. There's only so much capacity a modular unit can have. Once it's maxed out, you can't get any more on there, where option 2 allows you to spread out a little more. Now it feels deceiving because it's the same square footage in both. So it is, the modular unit in option 2 is smaller, but there are more options for play, which is why we tend to lean towards doing that.
Are there more ADA in one or the other?
I don't know, honestly. I couldn't tell you that, and I would hate to answer that and not be truthful about it. I would say option 2 lends itself more towards ADA compliant
But
just
I'm
because
looking
the
at- that's what I'm
space of it. Some of it also has musical elements, some of the music features in there that are considered inclusive play. So I would say option 2 probably leans more towards that, but I would have to dive into that a little bit more in terms of what the details are on each piece.
Well, and I'm a music person, so, I'd lean towards that too, but anyway, okay, very good, thank you.
Any others? Okay. Hearing none at this time, I'd ask for, oh, I'm sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
One last question, Director. Kind of, the Ray-Pec schools have put new playgrounds in at several of the elementary schools, and some of them have had some pretty neat different characteristics as far as things that you can get on and spin them, these towers that are webs, and you can climb several towers. I see some different things that are a little bit different on either one of these options. They seem very slide happy. I think there's one, it looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 slides on the option one, and it goes down just to maybe 3 on the other option. But I don't see anything that's kind of rivals some of the stuff that they put in at the Ray-Pec. Is there a reason for what we've chosen as far as liability-wise or those types of things? Because I do think that sometimes somebody says, hey, I want to go to the playground. My kid loves going to the new Stonegate Playground because there's a lot of cool new things that they can do there, whereas I don't see that here. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, excellent question. The modular units are the ones that qualify for the matching funds. So we're limited in terms of maximizing our dollars or gaining some dollars based on that program. We're limited to what those are offered. They are connected pieces. Slides are a big part of that. Climbers that are connected to that were the pieces you're talking about, which are what we look at and see more like a Christmas tree, a spinning Christmas tree with the nets and stuff. Those are singular pieces to purchase that aren't part of the program. So we try to maximize our dollars. If the board has the option, if neither one of these options are anything you want to do, don't make a motion and we move forward and we'll come up with a different design for you. This is merely trying to maximize a program that we qualify for. And that's how we're here tonight.
Anyone else? Eric?
I make a motion that we move forward with option 2 for the Recreation Park Playground Replacement Project contingent upon approval of the FY20 fiscal budget of the City Council.
I'll second.
I've heard her first and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor? All those against? Okay, passes 7-1. Yes, sir.
So as mentioned in the work session, given that this is a recommendation to the council and it's all based on calendar and approval, as I stated in work session, I'll keep the board updated on how we move forward, whether the program works in our favor or whether we need to come back and look at a different project based on what just didn't work, the calendar didn't work in our favor. But we'll move forward with option 2 as directed by the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Supple, would you like to expound on your no?
In comments that I made, I think to me it feels rushed. I think with many cool things we're bringing here to Raymore, I think sometimes we're just going through the motions a little bit. As much as I agree with the $89,000 match or the $60,000 match, I think it's either one of these to me are lacking a lot of wow. I think if somebody would have made a motion for option 1, I probably still would have voted no just after sitting here and going through it. I just don't see somebody that's going to come into that playground, either one of these playgrounds, after completion and walk like, wow, that's a really cool playground. It just doesn't have any like wow factor to me and things that you can't just go see anywhere else type of situation. So I think we may need to maybe sometimes focus a little bit on the attractions rather than the funding sometimes. So maybe less is more in certain circumstances.
Great, thank you for your opinion. Okay, we're going to move on to action item B, Johnston Lake. Director.
Thank you, sir. If the board will remember, Johnston Lake is the lake at Hawk Ridge Park. A lot of people mistake that and call it Hawk Ridge Park Lake, and it's really called Johnston Lake. We have a CAPS agreement with the Missouri Department of Conservation on Johnston Lake. We began that in 2010. It's a 25-year agreement. They manage the water. We manage the facilities around the water, and they can help with elements of that. It's all outlined in the contract. In 2016, we amended that contract to also include the ability to build amenities with some cost reimbursements on the part of the Department of Conservation. That did pass. It went through the city council. We applied for the grant through that, and were able to be awarded that, which included reimbursement for portions of our trail at Hawk Ridge, the Montrose prefabricated restroom, the ADA fishing dock, and the jetty that is next to the amphitheater. All of those had reimbursement dollars that are currently under review and will be approved, and a check written to the city and a presentation hopefully by the end of the year. I got notified today that the meeting is happening this week. We turned in all our information as required. This amendment to this contract basically goes back now and says who's in charge of maintaining those facilities, where the amended portion in 2016 gave us the right and who was responsible for what in terms of building and paying for it. We're just amending that now, assuming that now the facilities are in. We as a city will maintain those. They as a Department of Conservation will continue their water quality treatments and stocking of the lake and those types of things. So this is just truly an update of that contract that we put in place to get those amenities built. This does not, it does extend, I believe, can't remember because I've got two of them, but excuse me for a second. I believe that this amendment, the original 25-year commitment in 2016 stands, so we don't restart our 25 years. We're just amending that contract from 2016. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So the contract is attached. What we'll do is essentially what we'll do is we'll wait until we know there's a presentation date for the reimbursement, where the Department of Conservation will come to one of our city council meetings. We'll put this on the agenda for that night, and we'll just kind of take care of all of this while the Department of Conservation is in town. So this, once approved by the park board, if you choose to do so, this will kind of sit in the inbox until we have a date specified in the future for that. But all the documentation's there. Happy to go over it with you, and that concludes staff report.
Any questions for the director?
Yes, I thought that's the case.
Seeing no questions, I will ask for a motion. Oh, Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we approve the revised community assistance program for Johnston Lake at Hawk Ridge Park.
I'll second.
Okay, hearing a first and second, any discussion? Seeing none, we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Passes 8-0. Moving on to action item C, Recreation Park Pond. Director.
Thank you, sir. So we have two bodies of water within our Parks Department. This is the CAPS agreement with Missouri Department of Conservation. This is their standard agreement, just like Hawk Ridge Park. Really the only difference is it's a new 25-year. Hawk Ridge Park also has a clause for a commitment with the trout stocking program. Recreation Park Pond does not qualify for that program, so it's not included here. Hawk Ridge also has what you just amended, is our commitment to care for the facilities that they help pay for. Outside of that, this is an agreement with Department of Conservation that they would help maintain the quality of water, stock the lake, and we would maintain that it be access for fishing for the public as long as they abide by Missouri state laws. This program wasn't available for Recreation Park Pond previously, but if you will remember, we just did a CIP project where we drained the pond, we dredged it out, we cleaned it up, we banked it. We did a lot of improvements on there, and that is why it now qualifies, because prior to that, it didn't meet the qualifications. So we basically did our part. Now we can come in, and essentially what it does for us is it helps stock the pond for us, and they help maintain the water. And This will be a 25-year agreement. Same thing with this. We'll kind of hold this in a place setter until we have a date where the department comes in. Both of these contracts will go on the city council in one night, and we'll take care of it all together. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move we approve the Community Assistance Program agreement for Recreation Park Pond at Recreation Park between the City of Raymore and the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Second.
Hearing a first and second, any discussion? Seeing none, we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor? 8-0. On to action item D, contract for TB Hanna's site improvements. Director.
Thank you, sir. Finally, tonight, we have a recommendation for award of contract to R.L. Phillips for the site work and general construction at TB Hanna Station. The board will remember this is kind of the final component of all the amenities at TB Hanna. This is the general contractor that puts all those puzzle pieces together and completes that project. We already have the pre-designed restroom, concession, pump house facility bought, purchased, built, and waiting for delivery. Ice rink has been bought, purchased, is being delivered. The spray ground, the playground have all been designed. They are ready for manufacturing. And we have general grading, things of that nature, and that's what this contract does. R.L. Phillips is currently the contractor who is renovating the station house, the old post office, on site at TB Hanna. So they are familiar with the park. They are familiar with the site plans. They have done several projects within the city. So checking references, all of those things, they automatically qualify, and all of those things have been taken care of by our purchasing department. We did submit, this will be the second time this particular project has gone out to bid. The first time we weren't pleased with the return, the bids. We got one. We worked with that contractor, just didn't get it down to where we felt comfortable with it, so we decided to take another look and rebid this. We got 3 bids this time. Our lowest bid is lower than what we had worked with in the original bid earlier this summer, so we feel confident that we can get in and get this done. It's perfect time for a winter construction project. We still have an April deadline date to get this done so we can grand open this park at the beginning of the summer next year. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and that concludes staff report, sir.
Any questions for the director? Okay, having no questions, I'll ask for a motion. Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we accept the contract for TB Hanna's site work project to be awarded to R.L. Phillips Construction Incorporated in the amount of $234,250.
I'll second.
Okay, having a first and second, any discussion? Seeing none, we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Passes 8-0. Public comment is next. There is no public, so we'll move forward to board member comment. I'll start with you, Ryan.
I'll pass. I think I've said enough tonight.
Thank you, sir. Melinda?
Well, I'm excited about getting the spray ground and spray park in and stuff like that, so that's exciting that we're moving forward with that. And other than that, I think I'm going to be done for the evening, so thank you.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm playing in the disc golf tournament, so thanks to Steve and his staff for making the course look really nice. I'm excited to play. There's a $1,200 ace pot that I'm hoping going to be running aces, and hopefully I can take that home. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. Thanks to the rest of the staff for all you do, and that's all.
Bill?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing TB Hanna function this summer especially, and I'm looking forward to this Saturday at the Circus Gala at Centerview. I'm all for that. In fact, that's something I've been looking, my wife's even making me dress up for this.
That could be worth the money alone.
No, let's don't go there.
Chanda.
I think it's wonderful that we are expanding on these parks and that they are going to be ADA. Very proud of this community for moving forward like they do. Thank you all.
Josh.
I have nothing, thanks.
Rich.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. And I'll finish with, I was at the 80s and 90s dance, and the DJ was a killer. You were right there. He was awesome. And although the crowd was smaller than probably what we'd wanted, I don't think anybody left without having a good time. And anytime that happens on something new, it tends to continue to grow. What I'm thankful for to both Katie and the staff is that you took a chance on doing something new, and that's always refreshing to see. I appreciate that. I also appreciate all the staff involved in all the things you do, and with that, we will move to adjournment. Yes, sir.
I'd like to address the board real quick. I did kind of forget a couple items. First and foremost, from a staff perspective, from director perspective, I want to say thank you to Coordinator Katie Van Coolen. She has accepted another job in Johnson County Parks and Recreation. This is a good move for her career, for her family, and we are just pleased that we were able to be a part of her life for the 2 short years we had her, but she had a huge impact on our department and our programs and made a lasting impact. So we're going to miss her a lot. She was fantastic. Also, I do want to announce the gala. I apologize, I forgot to do that in my staff report. There are some tickets still available. If anybody would like to do that, they can contact me. Our office will get you in charge of and in contact with who you need to do that with. It's a Saturday. This is a fundraiser for our Hawks Nest Playground. There's a specific piece of equipment we're trying to purchase from this gala. And we're also looking for volunteers. So if you don't want to attend the gala, but you would like to come and volunteer some time and help us tend tables and greet visitors and stuff, we're in desperate need of some volunteers to work. So more than happy if anybody on the board or you have a spouse or know anybody that'd like to work, please let me know as soon as you can. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn at this time.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Well, sure, we'll vote. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.